Hello! Today is for all of you who have asked me, Teacher, pahingi naman ng tips kung paano matulungan yung anak kong mag-focus kasi sobrang hyperactive niya. So first thing is actually dalawang magkahiwalay na issue po yun. Yung pag-focus or sustaining attention is different from hyperactivity. But I'm just going to give you tips that I use for my therapy sessions. And just a little disclaimer, hindi po namin specialty ang behavior. But we do have training for behavior modification just enough to redirect them back to their tasks. So these tips that I'm going to give you are going to combine both of the things that can address these two issues that have worked for me in my therapy sessions and sana makatulong rin sa inyo. Kaya tara, usap tayo. Let's get talking. Hi! If you're new here, I'm Teacher Kaye and I'm a certified speech-language pathologist. Oh my gosh, episode 50 na. So before I continue, just a short thank you again for everyone who have stuck by from episode 1 or kahit anumang episode kayo nag-start or whatever got you here. I'm just so happy that you are here and thank you. Thank you, thank you. And having said that, simulan na natin. Hyperactivity. There are so many different reasons kung bakit kaya hyperactive ang isang bata. But the first thing that I want you to look at is the environment. So, modify the environment. I already mentioned this in my episode about play. Sinasabi ko na para mas makafocus yung bata dun sa toy na gusto mong laruin niya, dapat i-clear mo lahat ng ibang toys. And it goes the same way for any task that they're doing. For example, yung bata, gusto mong mag-color sa coloring book niya. Pero, in the span of 5 minutes, napansin mo, tumayo siya from the table, kung nasan yung coloring book, pumunta siya dun sa TV, inon niya, nanood siya ng konti, tapos nalingat nung attention niya, biglang nakita niya yung bola. Biglang gusto niya, magdidribble-dribble na siya ng bola doon, tapos shoot niya dun sa hoop niya. Pagka-shoot niya dun sa hoop, napansin niya, ay, ayun pala yung librong binabasa ko kahapon. So, binalikan niya yung libro, tapos nagbasa siya ng ilang pages. So, this is because the things that they can see, they are having a hard time to zone in on just one activity, edi tanggalin natin yung mga distractors na yon. Because a hyperactive body starts with a hyperactive mind. So if hindi natin sila tulungan to zone in on one thing because ang dami-daming distractors dyan, magmamanifest yun dun sa paikot-ikot niya sa room looking for whatever it is na gusto niyang gawin. So my number 1 tip is to modify the environment and remove distractions para mas makafocus yung bata. One possible reason for being hyperactive is because hypo-stimulated yung bata. When you say someone is hypo-stimulated, kulang siya ng stimulation. Na-mention ko na to in my episode about autism where there are some children with sensory integration issues. There are cases where children are kulang nga sa stimulation, so ang nagiging effect nito ay maghahanap sila ng stimulation from everywhere. So this is what we call sensory-seeking behaviors. So until we fulfill the need for their stimulation, hindi sila makakalma. So number 2 tip is to move. Put moving in your regular routine. So if napapansin nyo na yung child nyo ay hyperactive umaga pa lang, we can try to think what physical activities can I include in the child's routine para ma-fulfill yung need niya for that stimulation. I've advised some parents to include some form of exercise in the morning. For example, mag-jumping jacks kayo together or mag-run around kayo sa village nyo kung safe dyan sa inyo. Or kung meron kayong dog, make that an excuse na kailangan lakarin or i-jogging yung dog around your street. Or anything that you need to exert physical strength or effort. For example, pag diligin mo nung bata, kunyari, okay, we need to take care of our plants. So, every day siya yung magbubuhat ng watering can, tapos i-water niya lahat ng plants. Even something as simple as that, you need to experiment kung what would fulfill this child's need for stimulation. And then observe after. So, pansinin nyo, if after you did that physical activity, Nag-improve nga ba yung behavior ng bata? Nakapagpa-focus ba siya a little better? And then also take note of the duration hanggang ay parang nawawala na yung bisa. Ayan, bumabalik na ulit yung medyo distracted behaviors niya. And then you need to put another physical activity there until you come up with your routine na let's say every hour ba kailangan ng stimulation? Or is it just the sort of thing that needs maybe morning, noon, or night? So the important thing is you move. Galaw-galaw po tayo dyan. And I have action songs in my playlist for Teacher Kaye Sings that you can try. Meron nga akong isa na ang title mismo ay Galaw-Galaw. And for sure, kapag gawin nyo yun together na sobrang medyo exercise na rin siya talaga. This is based on clinical experience with occupational therapists na usually pag napapansin nga nila na hypo-stimulated yung bata, they will put a physical activity before the session. For example, papag-trampoline namin, let's say for 1 minute, magta-trampoline siya or until we notice na parang, okay, medyo nagle-level na yung energy niya. Number 3, make tasks short and achievable. So, wag naman yung tipong expect mo, okay, mag-color ka dyan for 30 minutes. Parang matagal yung 30 minutes, especially for a toddler. So, maybe you could say, okay, I'm going to the kitchen. Can you color the eyes and the ears? And by the time I come back, tapos ka na dun sa eyes and ears? Can we try? So, something as short as that. And then, kapag pagbalik nyo, tapos nyo na yung eyes and ears, you can just assign another task after. Number 4, you give a short, rewarding break. So, after every task, you want to make sure na medyo mag-declutter sila ng utak nila na parang, okay, that task is done. Congratulations, amazing. Let's do something different. So that they can also feel that achievement of, yes, I finished a task and then I can have a break. A break doesn't need to be 30 minutes. A break can be 1 minute. In fact, in my therapy sessions, sometimes their break is, bibigyan ko sila ng biskwit na gusto nila, ng binaon nila, and just the amount of time for them to finish that biscuit and the next task na ulit after that. Number 5 is my favorite and it is preparing alternating tasks. Ano yung sabihin nito? Yung salit-salit, one task muna and then another, pero sabay, para nawawala rin yung sawa factor. So sometimes, and this is my favorite activity for speech therapy sessions, I combine following commands and picture identification. So, gagawa ako ng obstacle course where they will need to identify pictures at this end. So, kunyari, meron akong 2 choices of pictures. But bago sila makarating dyan, they will need to get through the obstacle courses where bibigyan ko sila ng different commands. So, for example, nag-set up ako ng mga blocks, chairs, and then tunnel, for example. So in the beginning, sasabihin ko, okay, go step on the block, go under the chair, and then go into the tunnel and get giraffe. So obviously, there are different goals there. Like I said, there's following commands and at the end, there's picture identification. But they don't need to know that. Ang alam lang nila is nag-obstacle course sila. And that's usually super fun for the kids. Plus, it ticks off their need to move. So, kasama na yung physical exertion because they're crawling under the tunnel, they're going over the chair. So, depending on the command that you give, pwedeng i-vary mo yan per time that they have to go through the obstacle course. So, yon, hindi siya nakakasawa. So, hindi rin mawawala yung interest nila in the 2 activities that are alternating. And after we've talked so much about physical exertion, number 6 is just to practice belly breathing. So if you can try to also incorporate in your routine is to teach your child how to do belly breaths. Just doing 10 belly breaths consecutively can really improve the focus of the mind. So what you can do is to instruct them to put your hands on your belly and make sure when you breathe in that you are expanding your chan like a big balloon. So, let's go breathe in. Big balloon. Hold it on top for 1 to 2 counts. 1, 2, and then blow it all out. So you can ask them to do that. Maybe start with one time. Once they get the actual feel of the belly breath, you can do 5 to 10 consecutively until you see that their energy, their focus starts to get to a functional level. And number 7 is giving a definite end to the task, as in a time limit, as in also related to what I've been saying recently, priming. So there are different ways to do priming. Like you can say, okay, we'll just finish this one task and then we'll have our break. And then we'll do task number 2 and 3 together, and then we'll have our break. So again, this is related to my episode on visual schedule if you want to know how to prime using pictures. But you can also just instruct them by using a timer. You can say, when you hear the bell ring, that means, it's done and we can take a break. Or if they're starting to recognize the hands of the clock, they don't even need to know how to read the time yet. But if you can say, let's try to keep working on your task from when the hand is pointing here until the hand is pointing here. Just that much, like a little slice of pizza pie. So these things help set them na, maikli lang pala yun, kaya ko yun. And that's it. Those are just some of my favorite behavior modification techniques that I use with my clients, and I hope that they will help you also. If you found that helpful, please like and share. And if you haven't yet, please click the red subscribe button and join our community of empowered families. Note, not perfect families, but empowered to do the best that we can. And so you can reach me on my Facebook and Instagram if you have any questions or comments at Teacher Kaye Talks. And hanggang sa muli, happy talking and mabuhay! Ayun pala nung librong... ayun pala rong